Tom was a very successful professional magician for over 30 years. It runs in his family. He learned sleight of hand from his father. After teaching for 8 years in 1970s, Tom rediscovered his love for magic and became a full-time magician. Tom is president of the Scrabble, or president of the pickleball players and a major Scrabble expert. He assures us that at most of the time, he doesn't want to use magic to win his games. Get ready to enjoy the magic and comedy of Tom Tremont. Tom was unwanted as a child, now wanted in 7 states. Thanks, Tom.
When I was younger, which was just yesterday, I used to start out the show like this. Oh. Yeah, when they have a fan running, it's terrible though. Oh. Name a card, any card. That's right. It's just as fun. Let's see. It's getting harder and harder for me to get out. You know, I don't know. And I had to get dressed up this morning. How many of you guys still own a suit? And you used to have trouble getting a good pocket square. You go to the wrong place, they're 25 bucks. But if you shop around, $2.99 a pair. So 6 years ago, Marlena and I bought a house in Oakmont. And we've been married for about 2.5 years. And she puts up with me, so I've got that going for me. How many people here are related to the pickleball club? Raise your hands. Great, it worked. How many people did Marlena invite? That's a good number too. Glad you're here. Gee, I got to get out of these. I need somebody to give me a hand. Would you help with something? Here, come on up here. Esther, isn't it? Come on up here. I know you probably could do this with a paper clip, but here's the key. There you go. Perfect. All right, no, while you're here, wait. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment. Yeah, I was supposed to have this one part ready ahead of time. All right, but I'm ready now. All right, open your left hand. Notice you got that on the first guess. Okay, I'll take one, you take one, tight squeeze. Tap the back of your hand like that. That makes it disappear. Let's see. Wait, open your hand. All right, great. All right. Let's see how I did. Oh yeah. This time really tight, really tight. All right. Now, it's in here I have, wait, let me just see. You got one there?
Yeah.
Let's check. Oh wait. That's okay. I got it. Open your hand. Really tight this time. If you can guess how many are in there, you win 4 free tickets.
Oh, wow.
They're just free.
Yeah.
How many would you guess are in there? I'll give you like 5 either side of your guess. How many would you guess are in there? 3.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I'm sorry you didn't win. But you could, I'll tell you what, you can have what's behind door number 2. The wristwatch. It's a very nice one. There you go. Watch your step there. So back to my pocket square. I wanted to do the joke, and I was embarrassed to go and buy it myself. So this is 30 years ago. I send my wife out. I tell her, get the teeny tiniest one you can find. So she's looking at the teeny tiny rack, and she wasn't big, but she was no size 5. It's a true story. And the sales girl comes up and says, those for you? She looks her right in the eye and says, no, my husband. True, it's a true story. All right. So my father was a magician, a hobbyist. He had a lot of hobbies: photography, magic, storytelling, woodworking, dancing, lots of things, but magic was his favorite. And he started teaching me magic when I was about 7. And he wouldn't just teach me the trick. He'd make me learn a little part of it and then another little part. And he wouldn't, just show me the whole thing at once, which was very frustrating for a 7-year-old boy. So years later, I had taken a trip to New Orleans, and I saw a magician doing the trick I'm going to show you in a second, and it fooled me. It was a killer trick. I knew it would fool my dad. So I get home, I show him the trick. He's dying to know how it works. He says, how'd you do that? Dad, I promised not to tell. I made him wait a week. Well, maybe not, but I taught him and it became his favorite trick. So are you ready? Come here. What's your name? Carla, come on up here. Pretend I get to show. All right. So, have you ever heard of David Copperfield? Oh, then this won't be very impressive. But for this trick, you be Claudia. I was going to say his best trick ever was going out with Claudia Schiffer. So for this trick, you be Claudia, I'll be David. Claudia, slip into your costume. I'm kidding, you don't really need a costume for this. Push it in there. Do you think it's still there? You can see it, it's right there. Come on. I mean, it's not like it's going to disappear from my hand here. No. All right. Sometimes it does disappear, reappears in my pocket. I'm glad you restrained yourself. All right, now, you saw the red and the blue. Name another color. I mean, I lost my head there, didn't I? Purple, yeah. Wish I'd thought ahead. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, boy, I wish I hadn't said purple. Name another color. I'm out of black. Thank you very much. Watch your step. So when my dad he grew up in a very poor Italian family in Chicago, in the heart of Little Italy. And he used to say they were so poor that the poor people wouldn't talk to him. True, so he couldn't use the expensive props that I'm using. And he used to do one trick, it used no props. But you put your hands in front of you. Everybody here, put your hands in front of you. Thumbs down, right over left. Clasp your hands together. Now, the easy part is see if you can get your thumbs to move. Nothing else, just your thumbs. Perfect. Good job. See if you get your little finger to move. Now, if these fingers move, that's cheating. None of that. Then you dislocate your shoulder and you bring your hands around in front of you like this. Well, they're my trick hands. All right. All right, what do I do after that one? All right. Oh, I got to get ready. Don't take the ace of spades much too easy. Remember one. You got one? All right. Whisper it to her after I'm away from you. Sir, I didn't mean to call you sir, just a joke. Remember one. Whisper it to him. Sir. High card? That makes it too easy for me. Cut and take a look at a card. Don't say it out loud. Put it back here. High card? No, don't say the name of the card. Was it a high card? High card? Picture card. It has a picture? No picture. Red card? Red card? They're all red. I'm kidding. What do we, I'm sorry, no pick. It's I'm gonna go club, ace clubs. Oh shoot. I'll get back to you. All right, well, we were I'm gonna go heart. Is it heart? King of hearts. Yeah. Stuck over here. In case I run into a guy like you, I put one card in this deck upside down. It's protected by the combination lock, extra thick elastic band. You're not going to change your mind. You're happy with the mind you got. I can only do so much. Name your card so we can all hear it. Oh, that's one of those I shot around. All right, we're going to take a look. Sometime between now and when the two of clubs comes out of here, I have to cheat. So it's a good time to start watching. No, I don't think so. Let me see. I think I was cheating here. I got this. I'm having a little problem finding this one. Let's see. Not part of the show. Oh, here it is. Take a look at that one, see if I got lucky. Two of clubs. Whew. Sorry, I normally don't have to work for it that hard. So I used to work behind a bar at a place called Mr. C's Magic Lounge. Mr. C loved magic, and he'd have about 5 or 6 magicians working in the bar, some behind the bar, some at some tables. And this is one that I learned there. I'd like to have you tie me up. Yeah, tie me up really tight, make a knot. Yep. Pull it really tight and then make another knot. There you go. What's your first name? Barb did a square knot. Barb, open that up, would you? You can tell by the strange color of the thumbs and the way the flesh is deformed by the rope, she's done a good job. Now cover my hands a little higher. Yeah. Well, they think I'm cheating over here. Come over here, center stage. There you go. Great. That's good. That's good. That's good. Right. Yeah, well, just a little perfect. Now, I'm in there. Wait, cover me up.
Okay, still there.
All right. Great, great. And by the way, I want you to know you're doing a wonderful job. All right. Well, I'll have to work on that later. All right. Thank you. Oh, might need that later. Judy, take one out of there. Put your first name on the face of the card. I'll pretend I don't know what it is. Right under your name, put your phone number. Some girls do. Julie, you say stop in the middle. Take a look. Don't show me. Just tuck it somewhere. I'll take the pen. That's how I got it. All right, now Judy, you put that back in here sometime. Would you cut the card, sir? Now everybody saw the card, right? Did she sign? No, you got to know the card. You got to know the card, Judy. If they don't know the card, it's not much of a trick. Oops. Her card disappears from the deck, reappears in my wallet. In my wallet. You're not a known liar, are you? Don't lie to me. It's her card. That's not the trick. In the wallet, you'll notice there's an inner wallet. Inside the inner wallet is a zipper. Inside the zipper compartment is a card. That's a Judy card. Thank you. Oh, good. We're getting to the good tricks. Hi. Here, hold on to those. I'm going to run my hand down the rope. When I get near the middle, you say stop. I'll give you another chance. Perfect. Great. Let me start over. Yes, applause is welcome anytime during the show. Just pretend to cut it. Would you come here? Here, we're done with these. Yeah, come on over here. Have a seat, please. I just didn't want to have to look up at you. These ends are even. These ends, well, they're pretty close. This is the part of the trick where everybody in the room can see what's going on except one guy. Well, that would be you. All right, you can see the knot. Disappears, reappears in my pocket. I've got it here somewhere. Oh, and I've got to come back to your card. All right, keep an eye on this. You tell me which hand you think it's in. You got me. I got you. This is the trick part. It disappears from here, and if I'm lucky, it reappears on your shoulder. Yeah, get that off of there. Get that off of there. Perfect, perfect. Disappears, reappears, if I'm lucky, on your shoulder. Get that? Yeah, yeah, perfect. The trick of some kind. I just want to shake your hand. Thank you very much. Watch your step. I forgot about Julie's card. Julie, slide your card back in there somewhere. Your card is going to jump right out of the box and spit in your hand. Hold your hand out. You got to think of the card. Was it a big card or a little card? Little. It's a little card. Thank you. All right. I need to borrow some money. You get it back usually. Let's see. Great. So look across this cast of tens. Gary, do you have any money on you? Come on, let me see what you got. Well, no, I don't. You open her up. I know what I'm looking for. Perfect. We got 100 and a 20. Come on over here, Gary. Come on. Yeah, have a seat. All right. 120. Notice we got two heads, two tails. Head and a tail, tail and a head. Okay. What do we have now? What do we have now? Two heads, two tails, tail and head. What do we have?
Yeah, there's still heads.
Which one of these did you give me?
Both.
Thank you very much. Thank you. He's a very generous fellow. Here, you hold the 20. All right, we're going to test your psychic abilities here. I've got 3 envelopes. Oh, and put your initials on there. Here, take the pen. Put your initials on there, just in case you ever see it again, you'll recognize it. Breaking a federal law. All right. And seal that shut by your favorite method. Seal it. Notice he chose the French technique. A lot of people nowadays, they go for safe sealing. But heck, they're my envelopes. Might as well enjoy them. All right. Now, Gary, if that is your real name, touch anyone you like. Anyone you like.
Of course not that one. That one.
Perfect. Well, hold on to that. All right. Here's my scissors right here. All right. So, Gary, I heard that you started your career as an engineer. Is that right? As an engineer? Now, did that start as a hobby? Did being an engineer start as a hobby?
I think you better stop about now.
I always ask because my business, Magician, started as a hobby. I got a brother, he's a professional storyteller, started as a hobby. My other brother's a gynecologist. And not professionally. All right, now, Gary, when you get home, when you get home, you check that envelope, and I'm sure you picked the right one. All right, take a look, take a look.
I owe you, I bet. $5? What are you talking about?
Well, are you familiar with the concept of limited liability? All right, here, let me see if I can get out of trouble magically. Nothing here, etc. Don't lose track of that, Gary. Thank you. Watch your step. All right. Oh, we're bringing out the expensive props again. All right, now we're going to find out if this video magnification works. Let's see. Joanna, would you come help me for a minute? Yep. All right, here. I've got a couple rubber bands here. Pick one of them up. No. Pick one of the rubber bands up. Okay. Put one finger on each side and hold it like this. Perfect. Right up about here. Perfect. No, I'm not that kind of guy. But I am going to see if I can get it to go through yours to the other side. All right. Open your mouth. I'm kidding. Here, let go. Now, when I first learned this trick back in prison, I'm kidding. I've never been to jail, and I sure as heck ain't going back. Linked, unlinked. Now, the weird part is if you get them close together, one of them eats the other one. It's a trick of some kind. You're fine. Let's see. This is like the three shell game, but different. Which one's it under? When I had more, can you guys see? Can you see this here? Great, great. Do you think it's under the cup, or do you think I snuck it under the table? I'll give you another chance. Here, open your hand. It's too easy. Grab the cup, put your other hand on top, raise it up in the air. Oh, by the way, that's a beautiful ring, isn't that? Can you see it on the screen there? And those are real diamonds. Oh, you know how you can tell? They don't make fake ones that small. No. All right, here, hold up about here. Is it in there? Let's see. All right. The crowd went wild last time. Much like you're doing now. All right. What do you think under the table, under the cup? That's right. But if I was cheating, of course, I'd have it right here. Now, this is the tricky part. There's a ball under there. Basketball. Regular size. Bet you a nickel. She's in. You know, when a person like you bets a person like me, you know a basketball's coming out of there. Yes, it's a basketball. I never said NBA. I'm kidding. Thank you very much. Thank you. Give her a round of applause. All right. I made it through the hard part. I should talk to my agent. Do you think I have time for a story? Would you like a little family history? Perfect. So I told you my father was interested in magic. Well, 150 years earlier was sort of the beginning of where my family got involved with magic. In 1873, my great-grandfather, Savino Mantuca, was playing outside his village in Italy. He was 7 years old, and there was a gypsy encampment there. For him, walking around the gypsy encampment was like being at a circus. They had colorful wagons, and the smells and tastes were different. They really liked him. He was a good kid. In fact, they liked him so much when they left town, they took him with them. He traveled with that gypsy band for 7 years. When he was about 14 years old, they were traveling through the district where he'd been snatched. He recognized the landscape and he went home. Well, while he spent time with the gypsies, he'd learn some cons, some fortune telling, a little sleight of hand magic, palm reading, and he'd been changed by that experience. And the people in the little town of Cavote thought he'll never be able to adjust to the community again, but he did. He married Maria Giuseppina, which everybody called Maria Giuseppe. They had a family. They moved to America, emigrated to America, and brought a lot of their family with him. He always was a very street smart character. Nobody could put anything over on him. And my father loved his stories about the gypsies, but none of his own kids had any interest. One day when my father and his brother were going out to beg, they actually would go down to the South Water Street Market in Chicago. And there was a place there, the guy would sell bananas, and he'd have them all, the big stalks hung in the basement of this building, and the ones that fell off to the ground, he would let the poor kids come and take for free. So he would go and they'd get bananas. Well, one day they were trying to stuff them, bring a bag and fill the bag. They said, no, only what you can carry in your hands or put in your pockets. So my dad had a brainstorm. He got an old overcoat with big pockets. And he's about to take that with him. And it's a summer day, and Savino notices him and says, what are you doing with this overcoat? He says, well, we're going to get bananas at the market. And you can only take what you can put in your pockets or in your hands. He calls him over, takes his knife, slits the bottom of the pocket. Now the whole inside of the coat is a huge pocket. That's how my dad happened to be walking down the street with 15 pounds of bananas in his pocket when he ran into a magician that was working on Halsted Street. This magician would sell patent medicines. He would use magic to draw a crowd, and he would sell illusions. 11 tricks for a dime, less than a penny an illusion. Now, this was 1920. My father was 9 years old. He saw the tricks. He was getting excited. The magician was doing a little show, much like I did here. And he wanted to get up and see the show, be part of the show. Well, the magician, whose name was Mr. Seawald, happened to notice him, brings him up on stage, and he's doing a trick called the miser's dream. That's one where the magician pulls a quarter out of your ear. In this case, he was using silver dollars. And he's looking at this raggedy-assed Italian kid, and he reaches in his pocket, pulls out a banana. Well, the audience thinks it's part of the show. They giggle. Takes out another one. They smile. They laugh. They roar. They're getting excited. He's pulling out all these bananas. At the end of the show, Mr. Sewell says to my dad, "You live around here, kid?" And that was how my dad became a magician's assistant. And for 3 summers, learned sleight of hand and was an assistant to him and a shill. He loved performing tricks. He'd perform tricks in the neighborhood, and around the stoop of his father's house, all the neighbors would gather because my grandfather, not Savino, but Savino's son, was one of the only ones in the neighborhood that could read. They get the Chicago Tribune, he'd read it in English, say it to the people, he'd translate it immediately to Italian. And while he was in between stories, my dad would do tricks. He really wanted to fool his grandfather, the street smart Italian that had been raised by gypsies. Never could fool him, never could fool him. Sometime later, he was going to go to the BAB. Well, that's what he and his friends called the Berryess Beach, which was where the where the planetarium is in Chicago now on Lake Michigan. That was their swimming hole. They would swim off the rocks down there. There also was a pit there of clay that stayed wet all the time, and they would play it, and my dad got in the habit of rolling in this clay until it covered him completely. He'd lay in the sun until it got hard, then he'd dive into the cold Lake Michigan water, and it would melt off his skin instantly. So back in the neighborhood in Little Italy, Mrs. Pacente says to him, "Mikey, how come you're so clean and all your friends are so filthy?" And he says, "Well, there's this clay." And she goes, "Beauty clay?" My dad, being pretty smart, says, "Well, a magic beauty clay." "Magic, can you get me some?" He says, "No, there's hardly any left. I don't know." She says, "I'll pay you." He's thinking, all right. get me a jar and don't tell anyone. A week later, half the women on the neighborhood are keeping the secret. So he's selling this dirt, this clay, for a few cents. He makes enough money to buy a crystal set, and then later a radio. And I got to just a little aside here. In Amazon's order a month or so ago, I got this little advertisement, and it's Dead Sea Mud Mask, Indian healing clay. And I look on here, it says over 30,000 reviews. My dad could have been a billionaire. So he's got this crystal set and a radio with one tube, and he's playing around. He figures out that if he hooks up the microphone to the crystal set, he can use it, the earphone to the crystal set, he can use it as a microphone. Immediately, an idea dawns on him of how he can fool his grandfather, Savino. He starts a rumor that Mussolini is going to be on address the American people on the radio. Savino, and now this is 1925, Mussolini had been in power 3 years. He wasn't the dictator that he became later. All Italians worldwide loved him. Savino loved his family first, then the Pope, then Mussolini. And he would always go on and on about Mussolini. He was going to change Italy, restore the grandeur of Rome, make the railroads run on time. So he starts this rumor, and Savino says, Mikey, can I come listen to your radio? He says, sure. He's going to be, I think it's going to be on Sunday night. Come on over. So he hurries home. He makes the preparations. He gets the chest of drawers, puts the radio with the tube on top, feeds the wire through a little hole he poked in the wall. Sunday comes. Savino shows up. My father is shocked. Savino, a man who's never worked a day in his life, is dressed in his best suit, freshly brushed. A little scraggly, he had more hair than me, just a few. He had a little olive oil holding him down. He's got a new corncob pipe, polished spittoon. You think he's going to meet Mussolini, not just hear him on the radio. So my father gets him set up in his favorite rocking chair, tunes in the station on the radio, sneaks around the back. In 5 minutes, Mussolini is going to address the American people. Comes back around, and Savino says, Mikey, I heard that Mussolini is going to be on the radio soon. Yeah, he'll be on in a couple minutes. As the time approaches, he goes around the back, gets ready, starts crinkling paper to sound like static. In Italian, he's speaking through the radio, through the microphone, talking the litany of praises of Mussolini that he'd heard his grandfather say over and over about restoring the grandeur of Rome and all the things, how he's going to make Italy the greatest country in Europe. Then he breaks off from that, and he says, Io venga America. Mussolini's going to come to America. Io venga Chicago. Mussolini's going to come to Chicago. I might get to see Mussolini. He says, I'm coming to Chicago to capture a man who escaped from Italy 30 years ago, and he left 7 women pregnant. His name is Savino Mantuca. Savino is shocked. He thinks that the long arm of Mussolini is going to crush an innocent man. And he looks around. Where's Mikey? Well, Mikey's out the bathroom window, down the drain pipe, running down the alley. Savino was very angry. He wasn't going to forgive Mikey for fooling him so badly until he realized what a great story it was and how much ingenuity it took to fool him. And then he did forgive him, and it became one of his favorite stories to tell. And try as I might, I've never been able to make Mussolini's voice appear on the radio. But anyway, thank you. So, in Oakmont, of course, I'm retired, and people say, what did you do? And I say, well, I was a magician. And they say, what instrument did you play? And I say, no, not musician, magician. And then they don't know exactly what to say. But a lot of times people have questions about what it was like to be a magician or anything. Anybody have a question? It was great. I feel like I retired.
Okay, Sue, here you go.
Oh, I think he heard me.
Say it to everybody.
No, seriously, tell us your favorite experience on stage performing and
Oh.
when.
Well, being a magician was great. I mean, I had been a school teacher, and I actually really enjoyed teaching a lot, but I just enjoyed this so much more. As far as favorite experiences, you know, getting to meet lots of varied people. I got to meet Brooks McCormick at his 80th birthday party, the Spice McCormick family. That was my first billionaire that I ever met. When $1 billion was something. I used to do a lot more involved pickpocket show. And I had one guy, he's hanging around the stage after I'm done. And he says, yeah, it was a really good show and something. And then he said, I got to go. I said, well, it was nice. I'm glad you came. He said, no, I got to go. I need my wallet. I said, you weren't in the show. I didn't take your wallet. I said, you come with me. And I said, here's all my stuff. I don't have much for the show. And I said, I don't have, well, he'd left it at home. Anyone?
Hold on, I'll get, hold on. Hold on.
Wait.
Where you were kind of stuck with this, it appeared as though your trick was going to fail. Have you ever failed at one and then had to dig out of it?
You know, it's funny. I have been very lucky as far as like hecklers. I mean, I've performed for 30 years. I had maybe like 2 hecklers my entire career. And I did have a couple times I'd have a trick kind of backfire. Now, back in the day when you could do sexually inappropriate jokes, I did them. I used to do a trick similar to it started out with a red handkerchief trick, but I'd tie a couple larger handkerchiefs together and I would tuck them down out the front of a woman's shirt. And I'd say, we'll let them soak a minute. And then I tell her that the red handkerchief was going to disappear and reappear tied in between the 2 handkerchiefs I tucked in there. Well, it started to come apart too soon. And I said to the audience, okay, you know I made a mistake. Should I go on as if I hadn't so you can see how it's supposed to look? Or should we just stop it? They said, no, go on, go on. You know, the audiences always have been on my side. I feel very blessed that they wanted to see the best show possible. They wanted me to go, just go over that. And I showed, and of course, there was a brassiere between the 2. Well, back when you could do those things.
We have another question? Don't be shy. This is the one time you could ask. Yeah, there you go. You can ask the magician about the trick.
Well, the trick I wanted to ask about is how and when did you figure out you could actually make a living financially from this?
Well, I was a teacher. They don't make any money. My first year teaching, I made $5,100 in 1971. That's what I started. 8th grade science. In Illinois, a suburb of northwestern suburb of Chicago. Taught 8 years. And in my 7th year teaching is when I went into that Mr. C's Magic Lounge and rediscovered magic, fell in love with it again. And that became my moonlighting job. And after about 1.5 years of that, I'd gotten pretty good. And now, of course, I've been retired about 10 years and I've done a few shows here and there. So this show, right, the one where it looked like I was having a mistake, I did have a little mistake there. But I finally pulled myself out. I forgot where I was going with that. So.
Do you ever tell the secret to your, to a trick? Like how I was fascinated that my card that I wrote my name on appeared in your
Zippered
zipper.
wallet.
Yeah. How did you do that?
It's a trick of some kind. People don't really want you to just tell them. And now here, Marlene and I, we've known each other about 7, 8 years, maybe. No, we've been together getting near 8 years. We've known each other a few years longer. We met playing Scrabble, by the way. And we kind of have a deal. If she watches, she sees a lot of magic now. And sometimes we'll turn on America's Got Talent, different shows. Penn and Teller, who I've met several times. Anyway, so if she says, I think this is how he's doing the trick, if she's right, I'll say, yep, that's how you're doing it. But she wouldn't want me just to tell her.
So after you realized you wanted to be a magician, how long did it take you to perfect? And what was the first trick you perfected? And how long did it take you, or how do you keep in practice with your flexibility and doing the prestidigitation that you do?
There's some tricks that are so hard that if I knew how hard they were going to be before I was going to learn them, I wouldn't have done it. Like the rope trick, when I try to teach other magicians that trick, it's very hard for them to do. And the rope trick is really like 5 tricks put together. The little handkerchief trick, most people just make it appear and disappear. I do the color change stuff. I try to add some things to it to make it my own. No. In fact, I was doing that rope trick all wrong. Yeah, you're supposed to take the rope and cut it into 3 pieces. You're supposed to cut into 3 pieces exactly the same size. So you've got 1, 2, 3 pieces. And you know, people that are, if you're really close, it may look like one is short, kind of medium, kind of long. But no, that's not it. Because you notice those ends are even. Yeah, they're all exactly even. Yeah. Yeah. Question?
Do you have, you mentioned at one point teaching another magician a trick. Is that a common thing between magicians?
Yes. In fact, my father, when he was learning magic in the 30s, he wanted to join a magician's club in Chicago. And they had a rule that to join the club and become a full member, you had to invent a trick that fooled all the other magicians. So he did that. And his trick, he brought a mason jar, and the week before he told the magicians, bring a deck of cards with the strangest back design that you can find. Could be puppies or sailboats or flowers. So they would randomly select one of the decks of cards with a strange back, and he would shuffle it up, cut it in half, give half to one person sealed in the mason jar. The half that he had, he would show you some of the cards, shuffle it up, the card would be gone. The person opens up the mason jar and the card's in the other half. And people, then they went crazy. They couldn't figure it out. They'd be calling them up at night saying, was it mass hypnosis? How did you do it? And now with YouTube, you can see way too much on YouTube. Don't go there. Don't. Yeah, but so it's so much easier. And imagine when I was first learning these rope tricks, it was just somebody wrote down the explanation. Well, imagine if I said to you, write down in words how to tie your shoes. Something everybody does without even thinking about it. To try to write it down so somebody else could do it from your writing. Oh, so.
Yeah, Tom, I had a question about what trip professional have done, other magicians, that you are wondering how they do it, like sawing a woman in half or levitating somebody, passing a hoop through it. Which one has mystified you the most?
I am, well, when I watch, this Shin Lim, for example, or one of this America's Got Talent magicians, they're all great. And I usually know about half of what they're doing. And I enjoy being fooled just as most people do. I think the ones that still fool me are the mental tricks. I feel something. Is this a pimple? Sorry, I lost my head.
Example?
When some of these guys, I don't know how they do it. They'll walk up and they'll start talking. They'll say, I know you live in Windsor. I know you, your husband drives a boat. He's a fisherman. Well, I happen to know them, but to do that to someone you don't know, the mentalist tricks fool me.
Hi, I know that your specialty is stealing watches off of people's wrist. Is there a certain type of watch that is easier to steal than another?
Yes. Yeah, the watches with leather bands are the easiest ones. And I still get a kick out of it because this happens very often. I open the zipper, I bring out the wallet, and very often people say, I have one just like that. So, that's when I did the trade shows, you've got a group in front of the booth, and I would be looking to see, who, and now leather bands are getting rarer and rarer, but I would see who had a leather band, I'd bring them up and steal. I sometimes steal 30 watches in a day. Yeah.
We have any more questions?
I do.
Sure. Lynn.
So Tom, I'm here. Did you ever perform in Las Vegas? And what was the largest audience you ever performed in front of at one time?
1,200. And I felt sorry for them because they couldn't see they didn't have video magnification. And of course, I didn't do the rubber band trick, but the rope trick is good. The handkerchief trick is good. Some of the ones in the comedy translates for a large group. My favorite size was probably maybe 150 people. I'd say kind of is my favorite size audience. And
Las Vegas?
yes, I did perform there, but not on a stage show, but in trade shows. So.
Do we have any other questions? Oh, yeah, here's one in front. Hold on.
Just a quick one. Did you ever perform at Magic Castle in Los Angeles?
I was a member there for years. I lived in Chicago, so I didn't get to go there very often, of course. But it was nice because you could give out guest passes because they have a very fine dining restaurant there, very expensive too. And then they have several rooms. One is a close-up parlor where they'll have a table maybe this size, but then there's like tiered seating going up, so it'll seat about 40 people. Then there's one where they do parlor magic, and what I'm doing, I would say, is pretty much parlor magic. It's suitable for an audience this size. And then there's Grand Illusion, which are the tigers and boxes and cutting women in half.
Do you have any friends that would play poker with you?
I never get invited. On the rare occasion that I am invited, I pass the deal. I don't want to handle the cards any more than possible. And and it's true, well, I can only really move one card without you knowing it. And of course, that'd be plenty. But yeah, I just don't get invited.
Well, we would like to invite you back anytime. You'd like to
Thank
come
you.
back to Sunday
Thank you.
Symposium.
I want to, thank you so much. I want to say this is one of the friendliest audiences that I've ever had. And you guys are great. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom, for coming out. And thank everybody for coming to the